She married a disabled black man, but a big surprise awaits her on the wedding night. In the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, lived Chloe Bennett, a 28-year-old marketing executive who believed in fairy tales. She had dated countless men, but none captured her heart like Jerome Washington did. Jerome was different, not just because he was confined to a wheelchair after what he claimed was a motorcycle accident 3 years prior, but because of his gentle soul and brilliant mind. Jerome worked as a software developer from his modest apartment in Midtown Atlanta. Despite his physical limitations, he had built a successful freelance business, creating apps for small businesses across the Southeast. Chloe admired his resilience, his humor, and the way he never let his disability define him. Their courtship was beautiful. Evening strolls through Piedmont Park with Jerome navigating his wheelchair while Chloe walked beside him, sharing dreams and fears. Romantic dinners at the Optimist, where Jerome would arrive early to ensure they had wheelchair-accessible seating. Movie nights at the Fox Theater, where they'd laugh and whisper like teenagers. After 18 months together, Jerome proposed at the top of Stone Mountain, Georgia. He had arranged for a special wheelchair-accessible lift to take them to the summit during sunset. As the Atlanta skyline glowed in the distance, Jerome pulled out a modest but beautiful ring. "Chloe," he said, his voice trembling with emotion, "you've seen me at my most vulnerable, and you've never once looked at me with pity. You see Jerome the man, not Jerome the guy in the wheelchair. Will you marry me?" Through tears of joy, Chloe said yes. She called her parents in Savannah immediately, and while they had initial concerns about the challenges of marrying someone with a disability, they grew to love Jerome's warmth and intelligence during family visits. The wedding planning began immediately. Jerome insisted on contributing equally to all expenses, despite Chloe earning more. His pride was important to him, and she respected that. They chose a beautiful venue in Athens, Georgia, with full accessibility features. October 15th arrived with perfect fall weather in Athens. The ceremony at the State Botanical Garden of Georgia was intimate, 50 guests surrounded by autumn foliage. Chloe looked radiant in her flowing white gown, while Jerome looked handsome in his navy suit, positioned at the altar in his wheelchair. The vows were heartfelt. Jerome spoke about how Chloe had given him a reason to believe in love beyond physical limitations. Chloe promised to stand by him through all of life's challenges. There wasn't a dry eye among the guests. The reception at a nearby historic mansion was magical. Jerome had secretly arranged for a special dance floor modification, and their first dance was unforgettable, Chloe swaying gently while Jerome held her hands from his wheelchair as At Last by Etta James played. But throughout the day, Chloe noticed something odd. Jerome seemed unusually nervous, more so than typical wedding jitters. He kept checking his phone and whispering with his best man, Tommy, from Birmingham, Alabama. When she asked, Jerome brushed it off as work stress. Before we continue with this incredible story, if you're enjoying this wild ride, smash that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing stories like this one. The newlyweds checked into the Ritz-Carlton in Atlanta for their wedding night. Chloe had prepared herself mentally for their intimate moment, having researched and spoken with counselors about physical intimacy with a disabled partner. She loved Jerome completely and was ready for this next step in their marriage. As they entered their honeymoon suite, Jerome seemed more anxious than ever. He kept making excuses, suggesting they order room service first, wanting to watch the news, anything to delay what should have been their romantic first night as husband and wife. Finally, around midnight, Chloe gently approached the subject. Jerome, honey, we don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. I love you exactly as you are. Jerome's expression changed. He looked at her with an intensity she'd never seen before. Chloe, there's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you long ago. Chloe's heart began racing. Was he about to reveal another medical condition? Past trauma? She sat on the edge of the bed, preparing herself for whatever news might come. Jerome took a deep breath. The wheelchair, he began, his voice barely a whisper. The accident. It never happened. Confusion washed over Chloe's face. What do you mean? Jerome's hands trembled as he gripped his wheelchair armrests. 3 years ago, I was going through a terrible depression after losing my job at a tech company in Charlotte, North Carolina. I had moved to Atlanta to start fresh, but I was lonely, broke, and invisible to everyone around me. Chloe stared at him, not comprehending what she was hearing. One day, I borrowed my cousin's wheelchair to help him move some furniture from a medical supply store. While I was loading his car, this elderly woman saw me struggling and offered to help. For the first time in months, someone treated me with kindness, with respect. They saw me as someone worth helping. Jerome's voice cracked. I started using the wheelchair more often when I went out. People held doors for me. Waitresses were patient and kind. Women like you actually noticed me, saw me as someone with depth rather than just another guy trying to get their attention. The room fell silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. I never planned for it to go this far, Chloe. I thought I'd tell you after a few dates. But then you were so beautiful, so caring about my condition. You researched spinal injuries to understand me better. You learned about wheelchair accessibility. You fell in love with who you thought I was. Chloe's world was spinning. You mean, you can walk? Jerome nodded, tears streaming down his face. I can walk. I can run. I can dance. I've been living a lie for 3 years. And the worst part is that I fell genuinely in love with you. Everything about us is real except for this one massive deception. The silence stretched between them like an ocean. Chloe stood up, paced to the window overlooking Atlanta's skyline, and then turned back to face the man she thought she knew. Show me, she whispered. Jerome hesitated, then slowly stood up from his wheelchair. His legs were strong, healthy. He took tentative steps toward her, and with each step, Chloe saw both the man she loved and a stranger she'd never met. I know you'll never forgive me, Jerome said, standing now at full height. I know I've destroyed the most beautiful thing in my life, but I couldn't start our marriage with this lie between us. Chloe looked at him for a long moment, processing 3 years of memories through this new lens. The accessible restaurants, the modified activities, the gentle way she tried to help him navigate a world she thought was challenging for him. Then, unexpectedly, she began to laugh. Not with joy, but with the absurdity of it all. Jerome Washington, she said, you are either the most committed method actor in Georgia or the most insecure man I've ever met. But you know what the real surprise is? Jerome waited, terrified. I fell in love with your mind, your humor, your kindness, and your heart. The wheelchair was never what made me love you. It was just part of your story. A story that turned out to be fiction. What happened next? Did Chloe forgive Jerome's elaborate deception? Or did this wedding night confession end their marriage before it truly began? That's a story for another day. Don't forget to like this video if it kept you on the edge of your seat. Comment below with what you think Chloe should do. And subscribe for more incredible stories that prove truth is often stranger than fiction.